Good afternoon. Today we're talking sibling separation.
It's Friday, September 22nd.
The conversation starts now.
Only on Rob and Tristan's Foster Life.
Welcome to Rob and Tristan's Foster Life. Today it's Friday.
Yay!
Yay! I'm so ready for Friday. It's been a long week for us here. My week was, I was sick at the beginning of the week because you gave me that crap. I'm most certain of it. And so I was down for like 2 days, and then I had to meet with our attorney this week. And if you tune into Monday's show, we're going to talk about some personal stuff that Ethan and I have went through the last year and a half in our foster journey, and we're just going to kind of open that conversation because I suspect there might be other foster families out there that have gone through the same type of thing, and we want to give you some information that I think might be helpful. And then this weekend, Cindy,
We're all over the place.
we are rocking it. We have 6 events that we're attending, and we're everywhere from Springfield. We're in Garden City, Missouri this weekend. We're in Fair Grove, and then where are you Sunday?
Humansville, Missouri.
Humansville, Missouri. So we are like on a Missouri tour right now. But if you would like us to come to your area, we would love to do that. And it's really cool because we're starting to now get requests. Like we had a request the other day for some of our My Story people to come in from out of state and be on a panel for some foster parents. And so if you would like us to come to your area for an event that you might be having, you can just contact us. And actually you'll talk to Cindy. Cindy does all of our booking for us. And just contact us through our website, and Cindy will get back in touch with you and see if it fits our schedule and if we can make it. And a lot of times we do it free of charge.
Yeah.
So we don't even charge anything for us to come out and be a part of your event. And it gives us a way to meet people that are viewing and that type of thing. So you got any big plans for the weekend, Tristan?
Working on the car.
Oh, you are?
Yep.
You just got a new car. I mean, a new car to you.
Right.
Yeah, and it's really, really
Are you
nice.
going to call Joe Mama for car help?
Maybe. We'll see.
Yeah, it's so funny because she's not only into the house stuff and the mama stuff, but she does a lot of cars and things too. And I'm hoping that eventually we can do a segment like that on Joe Mama's house, where she can maybe show how to check the oil, change a tire, that kind of stuff, because she's very knowledgeable, probably more knowledgeable than I am.
Certainly more than me.
Well, that's good. So tell me, Cindy, what's in the news today?
Well, I wanted to talk a little bit. This, was just in the news, but it's been around a little while. But I wanted to bring it up just because not everybody knows about this. So there is, it's called extended foster care in Missouri, and it may very well be in other states too. But, so when a child ages out of care, if they age out at 18, then up until age 21, they can petition the court to come back into care to take advantage of services that are available. So a lot of people don't know about that.
Yeah.
But I think that is something that is really good to know, because a lot of times, kids are antsy to get out of care. They've been in for a while, and they're just ready to move on. And then they get out there, and then it's like, oh no, what do I do?
Yeah.
So they can petition the court, and there's criteria. But if anybody has questions about that, they can certainly reach out, and we can hook them up in their state with any information that we can find for them. But I do think it's a really good thing for kids that have aged out to know that. So if they're less than 21 back into care. They can petition the court, it goes to the juvenile court, and they can request to come back into care.
Wow. And you know, it's really cool that they do that, and this is why. I know we talk about the Foster TV My Stories a lot, but we've learned so much doing those interviews with these people. And how many times, Cindy, have we been out there interviewing and they said, I went out of care and I was homeless.
So lost.
Yeah, lost, homeless, I've heard, didn't know what to do.
Didn't have any supports or connections.
And I'll never forget this one interview that we just recently did. She said, I didn't think it through as to what that really meant. And then I did it, and then I was like, oh crap. So I think that this is really good that we provide this service for young people, because sometimes they don't think it through and they don't know exactly what they're really
When you have a chance to say not think it through, come back and then give them a couple more years to actually really get everything in order before they're out on their own.
Yeah, and we talked with one of our interviews that we did with My Story, and she talked about how everything that she thought she had in place kind of fell through on her.
Yeah.
And it really wasn't her doings that it fell through, it was more a situation where just circumstances. And so if this had been available in her state, or maybe it was that she just didn't know about it, then she could have petitioned the court, gone back, and maybe then taken advantage of the services that were available.
Yeah. When we come back today, we're going to be talking about sibling separation, and I think we're gonna be able to start a really good conversation. But if you would like information on where you can get extended services, maybe for a person you know, or if you're a foster youth or a former foster youth that was in care that need those services, the best way to reach to us is go to fostertv.net and go to Let's Talk, put in the subject line what it concerns, so news story, and then just write a little message there, and we'll make sure that we get you connected in the right place. We'll be back on Friday, right after this.
Trash bag moves for foster kids, no more. Every foster kid deserves luggage. Go to fostertv.net and donate today. Every $5 buys a bag for a foster youth in care. Foster TV is a HEDFRA production, only at Foster TV.
Here at Foster TV, and I like the family room so much that we just kind of scratched the news desk, and I think we're going to do that for the next couple of days. People got to see the news desk for like a week or two before they got the family room, so I think we're just going to shoot in here the next couple of episodes, and then we'll go back to splitting it back and forth like we normally do. But it just is a good change for us, and it helps us to get used to where our cameras are and lights are and how we look the prettiest here on the set. Today we're talking about sibling separation, and in the United States they report that 75% of kids in care are separated from their siblings. We also have found through recent studies and through our research that it is extremely traumatic for a child who is separated from their siblings. So today we want to open the conversation, and we're just going to scratch the top of this. Like I said before we went to commercial, Foster TV is going to launch an actual workshop with the pros this winter, where you can come as foster parents and learn about sibling separation. And the reason that we're doing that is because you guys voted on our website what you would like training in, and we got a huge response on sibling separation. So I want to talk about that a little bit today. So first of all, Cindy, with you you were a worker for a long time. Does that number surprise you? 75% of kids in care are separated from their siblings?
It doesn't surprise me, it does sadden me.
Oh yeah, it saddens me
I
too.
think this is a topic that is pretty hard on my heart because I think about what my life would have been like if I had grown up without my siblings, or what my kids' life would have been like if they had grown up without their siblings.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine.
No, I just can't. So this has always been a topic that's been pretty tough for me to work through. As a worker, it was tough. And I think now, researching it again, it kind of brings back some of those emotions again.
Well, if you think this is tough, I'm getting ready to do a my story. And I talk about these all the time, but it's up in St. Louis, and I'm going to talk to two girls that were twins, that were separated, and the damage that
Yeah, I can't imagine being separated from my twin.
Yeah, Tristan's a twin, and I mean, could you imagine if somebody, first of all, came in to remove you from your home, and then separated you and your sister?
She is literally my other half. Like,
Right.
I honestly don't know what I'd do without her.
Right. And I just can't imagine, but the foster mom who she actually adopted them, and they're no longer in care, of course, but when she talked to me about it, she got really emotional. But what ended up happening is they were separated, and then when they got to be adults, the mom, for the one, went ahead and adopted the other one so that they could be reunited and back together and in the same family again.
Wow.
And I think that totally makes sense, and my hat's off to you folks, and I'm excited to hear more about your story.
Absolutely.
So what are some of the things that happens when kids are separated from their siblings?
Well, I think a lot of things can happen, but I think there's a lot of depression. There's a lot of anxiety. I mean, a lot of kids report, just like what Tristan just reported, like they feel like something's missing, like they are missing a part of themselves.
Right.
And I think that is very valid, and I think that they have every right to feel those feelings.
Yep.
So I think it's important that we recognize that, and that we always use best practice to keep those siblings together. Now, it can't always be done, but I think a lot of times we work, it might not happen in the beginning, but hopefully the goal is to always work towards getting them back together.
Right, exactly. So my mom was, there was 13 kids in her family, including her. And her mom passed away when the youngest was born. And so the younger ones were adopted out. Some of them were taken by their older siblings, and then some were adopted out to aunts and uncles and that type of thing. But even though they couldn't keep them together, till my mom's dying day, the one thing that she was thankful for is that her adoptive parents always kept her together with her bio siblings, and my mom had a really good relationship with all 13 of her siblings, even though they had to be separated. And I think that's so cool that my Grandpa Joe and my Grandma Ethel would spend their summer vacations to make sure that they came to Missouri so that they could see their brother Larry, and they could, see their sister Bumsy, and, the different ones that lived in different areas. I think that was just really awesome of them. And my mom was the youngest of the littles.
Yeah.
So it was just really cool that they did that. So is that something that they try to do, is if they can't place them as a group, then they actually will try to keep them somehow connected?
Well, I think that's always the goal. There's so many factors that come into place when you take, when a sibling group comes into care.
Right.
Can you place them together? Is it safe for the kids to be placed together? Because, there are circumstances where there's been inappropriate behaviors go on, so it's not always safe in the beginning. So you have to think about that. You have to think about how large of a sibling group. I mean, it's hard to find a home for 13 kids or 9 kids. So that's very difficult, and that's a factor that does play in. We need foster homes so badly.
Right.
And then you're asking one that
I got a question. So with the new federal mandated policy, you know, so many times we see these really good stories on YouTube or on the news or whatever, where a foster family adopted all 8 of them. But the new federal guideline is that you can only take 6 or 4, depending on what the makeup is of your home. So would that include the sibling groups, or do you think that if there was a family that could take 8 and had the resources to take 8, would they still allow that to happen?
Well, they do make exceptions. There are exceptions to those federal guidelines to be able to keep sibling groups together.
That's good.
So if there's a home that's large enough and they have, you know, the space and the capacity to do that, then
Trash bag moves for foster kids, no more. Every foster kid deserves luggage. Go to fostertv.net and donate today. Every $5 buys a bag for a foster youth in care. Foster TV is a HEDFRA production, only at Foster TV.
Conversation today on sibling separation. So one thing that we were talking about is actually separating them. So when a sibling group comes in to care, kind of what's the protocol? What happens?
well, of course it depends on what they come into care for. So
Right.
that's the first thing is safety of the kids. Is it safe to place all the kids together? So that's the number one thing. And then of course it's just to start trying to find a home that can accommodate a sibling group. And, you know, hopefully you can find that.
Right.
But if you can't, then it is always a goal to work to where you can reunify the kids together.
Right.
Do
Or
they usually take time to find a family that will take in a sibling group?
Well,
Or is it just like, okay, we've got 3 days and we've got to get this done?
it's usually a pretty fast process. But if you're working closely with the licensing agencies, then they know, you know, their folks and they know who has availability and that sort of thing. So but it is a fast process.
Unless you're working with my licensing agency, they might not know so much, but other than that.
Yeah, other than that. So it is a fast process. Things happen pretty quickly because you don't want kids, you know, just sitting in offices and, you know, things like that. We want them to have placement. So I think there's a lot that goes into those considerations early on.
Right.
And I think it's important that we're always working to either have visits so that the kids are seeing each other as frequently as possible, or working to get them into the same home.
So you take in a sibling group, and mom gets pregnant. Will they try to place them? I know the answer already. Will they try to place them in your home with the other siblings?
They will try.
Uh-huh.
I mean, if the foster parent is accepting of that, they have room, they have space, it works, then they will try to.
Right. And in our case, so this has happened to us twice now, where we had the kid or the kids, and mom got pregnant, and so if the kids were to come into care, they talked to us way early, like when mom was only 4 months pregnant, they started that conversation with us, and so we had already made our decision, and we didn't know if the kids were going to come into care or not, because each case is new when there's a newborn, but in both of these cases, the children did come into care, and so we took them in, and the reason we took them in is because of my mom and what my mom always told me about being together. And she was adopted with her younger brother, and so she was always thankful that they were kept together. And so we made that choice. But what they look at with that is how well you work with the mom. And that's really important. And then the safety issues and things. But if your numbers are up, in both cases we were over our numbers, but because we had the siblings, the state of Missouri did waivers for both of those children to make sure that they were kept with their siblings.
And I think too, just like we know other foster parents in our community.
Right.
I think if you can collaboratively work together so that if it is a large sibling group, say it's a sibling group of 8 and you have room for 3 and someone else has room for 5 and you know that family, then you can do picnics or you might attend the same church or those sort of things so that the kids do have some contact with each other.
Right, and we've done that on the other side too, but sometimes when you bring them together, that can take off scabs and it can open up a whole mess of behaviors and that type of thing, so you kind of have to work on that. Now, not every licensing worker does their job because they want to do what's in the best interest of the child. And we have a lot of really good workers out there. I've only had a bad experience with really one worker. But we had a case where the licensing worker didn't want the baby there because she felt like we had too many kids in our home and da-da-da-da-da. And so we had to go and advocate for our sons to make sure that their sister was placed in there. And by going to the state of Missouri and advocating, the state said, yes, absolutely, this baby needs to go there. You guys have plenty of resources. You're well. And so just because a worker says, I don't think we're going to do that, if you really feel like those siblings need to stay together, you can always go above. There's always somebody above them that can get it worked out. And it was really simple. It's amazing when the state calls a worker and tells them how it's going to be, they pretty much listen. And so that's how that works, and it makes it easy. When we come back today, we're going to wrap up talking about sibling separation, and hopefully you'll have some good news for us. TRISTAN'S Foster Life today. Right after the show, I go to Garden City, Missouri, and I hang there from 6 o'clock tonight till 10 o'clock tonight with 2 of my boys representing Foster TV. And then we're there again Saturday from 9 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock at night. So I am busy. You'll be over at the car show in Springfield.
Yes.
And then our sales rep, Brittany, she's going to be in Fair Grove. So if you're at the Fair Grove Festival, you want to make sure to hit up Brittany and tell her hello and send us a message, and she'll make sure to text us and make sure that we get it there. So we're talking about sibling separation today, and here's how I'm going to wrap it up. My mom, I thought the world of her, and if she says that it was important that her siblings were connected with her, and I watch how much we did with them growing up, and my aunts and uncles, even though they were older, so they were more like grandparents to me, because she was in the younger of the 3 younger ones. So I had some aunts and uncles that were up there in age, but it was really important that they stayed together. Secondly, never, ever, ever do I think it's okay to separate like twins, triplets, quadruplets. Tristan and I are really good friends, and we spend a lot of time together, and I know that it's almost like you and your sister just kind of share the same soul.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I mean, it's like she finishes my sentences sometimes. She thinks what I'm thinking whenever we don't even talk to each other.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm having a bad day, it's almost like she can feel it and calls me.
Right.
I mean, it is incredible, the feeling. I mean, I couldn't imagine not having her next to me.
Yeah. And I think that is so important. But then I look at your kids, and how close they are and how they are really well structured together. And I can't imagine if that was ever done.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
And then you got the mutts. And I'm just kind of joking here. But you have our family, and we're a mix of all different families, and some of them are bio and some of them aren't bio. But could you imagine if my kids, if something happened to Ethan and I, and those kids had to be separated?
No.
I mean, look at how my babies react, like when Robert and Brian come home from work, and they just go crazy. But then look at how Kyle and Brian and Robert and all of them react when they come back and they're loving up on the babies and stuff. And I just can't imagine that being healthy.
It's just so important, you know, to always be striving to keep them together when it's safe to do so.
Yeah, and if you can't keep them together, I think it's really, really in the best interest, if you can, if you know the family, if they're going to adopt part of them and you're adopting part of them, to somehow try to come together so that they can have their siblings in their life. And I think that that's one thing that we really strive to do, because we have that situation a couple of times as well.
Yeah.
When we come back on Monday, we're going to be talking about our Let's Talk. And it is really exciting what you can do and how you can communicate, how we can advocate for you and tell you resources and all of those kinds of things. But before we leave today, I want to know, do you have any good news for me?
I do actually.
Okay, tell me the good news.
Tony Dungy, which that name might sound familiar, he was an NFL coach for the Indianapolis Colts.
Oh, I don't watch the Colts.
Okay, well, anyway, I kind of, watched the Colts back whenever he was the coach.
This is my football player here.
And he actually, after being a coach, is fostering and adopting children.
Oh!
And on top of that, he's even created an organization, which, let me get the name of that real quick. Let's see here.
So he's fostering and adopting, and then he's created an organization as well.
He's adopted, I think, 7.
Really?
Yes.
Yep, and then he had 3 biological children.
Oh, so he's got the same size family as we do. And what's the name of his organization?
I'm still looking here. Kicked off a new partnership with All Pro Data, a program that Dungy serves as national spokesman for, and the fatherhood program of Family First.
That is awesome.
Yep, the goal is to help raise awareness and recruit foster and adopted families across the state.
Wow.
Way to go.
Yay, we love stories like that. Tune in on Monday, because you're going to be able to tell us your good stories, your not so good stories, ask questions, and we'll try to connect you if we can. But sometimes it just gives us information on shows that we need to do to serve the foster community. We'll see you on Monday.
Help support Foster TV. Go to fostertv.net and make a donation today. Foster TV's My Story is a HEDFRA production, only on Foster TV.